Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, if you consider that Piedmont is a region of Italy bordering France and in particular Switzerland, it's amazing how in most of Piedmont property prices are very cheap. One could argue that given that GDP per capita here is notably above the Italian average, Piedmont offers the best value for money when it comes to buying real estate in Italy. Now, Piedmont, of course, is best known for its high-quality food and wine, and there are many lovely small villages to explore, such as Saluzzo, Barolo, Monforte, and many others. However, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to include only towns and cities which have a population of over 20,000 and, of course, have decent facilities. But anyway, in many of the smaller villages, property prices are not cheap. In Barolo, it costs over €2,000 per square meter on average, and this is also the case with Monforte. Now, the lake towns of Stresa and Orta San Giulio are even more expensive at around €3,000 per square meter on average, so small populations and very high prices. Some of the larger towns and cities that did not make the top 5 were either because they were just that bit too expensive or perhaps not as interesting as the top 5 that I picked. Now, Alba is an absolutely beautiful place, I have to say, in Piedmont, but the problem is property prices are well over €2,000 per square meter on average. And of course, Cuneo is not a bad place as well, but property prices there are also approaching nearly €2,000 per square meter on average, so I had to exclude those two. Now, Novara and particularly Alessandria came very close to making the top 5. Alessandria in particular is quite a big city, not bad, and property prices are under €1,000 per square meter. But here are my top 5. And number 5 is Ivrea, around 50 minutes north of Turin, and with a population of around 23,000, Ivrea is a hidden gem amongst expats. The town has a nice river and it has many lakes which are quite picturesque. Ivrea is best known for the spectacular Battle of the Oranges, which takes place over 3 days in the city's main squares, with groups of teams throwing oranges at each other. Now, if this is not your thing, there are other festivals that take place during the year. In 2018, Ivrea was actually recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site as an example of city planning for a 20th century industrial city. Ivrea is rich in history. In the 1950s and 60s, it was home to the renowned Olivetti typewriter. And the city's history, of course, goes back much further to Roman times. There are many impressive buildings and monuments in the city, like its castle, its cathedral, the town hall, the old bridge, library, museums, and a number of other lovely churches. But best of all, property prices on average are very cheap at just under €1,000 per square meter. Very good value for money. Transport-wise, Ivrea is well connected by train to Milan and in particular Turin. Now, to get to Turin with a direct train takes only about 55 minutes with no changes. Milan takes just over 2 hours, but unfortunately you do have to change trains. Ivrea also has a hospital, so very, very important. And of course, there are plenty of places to eat. So some good restaurants here and some good cafes as well. Now, coming in at number 4 is Biella. With a population of just under 45,000 and lying in the foothills of the Alps, Biella is an important wool processing and textile centre. It is located about 80 kilometers from Turin and about 100 kilometers from Milan. So you have a decent access to 2 main cities and of course their airports. The main reason though for buying in Biella is that property prices are incredibly cheap at an average of just over €700 per square meter. So for those on a tighter budget, this could be a really good place to buy. But it would be unfair if you just buy on this alone, because Biella has a lovely cathedral, baptistry, botanical gardens, synagogue, and nearby you also have a ski resort, a nature reserve, and the sacred mountain of Europa, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, Biella's main railway station will connect you to Turin in about 1 hour and to Milan in about an hour and 45 minutes, I believe. So not too bad. And Biella also has pretty good medical facilities. It should be noted as well that the fashion houses Cerruti and Zegna were born here. So I think Biella is definitely worth considering, especially for those of you on a low budget. Now, coming in at number 3 is Asti. Located about 55 kilometers from Turin and with a population of around 74,000, Asti is a city which most people associate with food and wine, and rightly so, but the city has so much more to offer. It is a city steeped in history, and it has a lovely cathedral and many other beautiful churches. You will come across a lot of lovely houses belonging to noble families, along with medieval palaces. And in the medieval city part, you will come across narrow streets lined with old buildings, including towers, palaces, and churches. Other advantages of Asti are that there are many fine restaurants, cafes, bars, and nightclubs. There are also plenty of events and festivals held each year. And one of the most popular is the Palio d'Asti, which is a horse race held between the neighborhoods of the city. Now, Asti has a wide range of shopping facilities, a very good hospital, and a railway station that is on the Turin-Genova line. Now, there are numerous daily trains from Asti to Turin, which can take as little as 36 minutes, so very close. And direct trains to Genova take about an hour and a half. Now, for all the facilities it offers, property prices, I think, in Asti are very reasonable, at an average of around 1,100 euros per square metre. And for lovers of opera and ballet, I should add there is a lovely theatre in Asti, which is a little gem and will take care of these needs. So I think Asti is pretty good value for money, but it doesn't make the top 2. Coming in at number 2, and I believe this is a beautiful place, is the city of Vercelli. Now, with a population of around 46,000 and situated roughly halfway between Turin and Milan, Vercelli is an absolute jewel in the crown of the Piedmont region. There are many places of interest in the city, including a Gothic-style basilica, a lovely cathedral and castle. It is also home to numerous relics dating back to the Roman era, including a hippodrome and amphitheatre. There are also several other lovely churches, a Moorish-style synagogue, and many impressive towers. All this makes this city very rich in history. Now, another good thing about Vercelli is that it is a very walkable city with quite a number of pedestrian-only streets. The public bus system is very good as well. And so the good thing, you don't really need a car to live here. Vercelli has lots of restaurants, cafes and bars, and there are lots of places where international cuisine is served. The city has a university campus, and transport-wise, there are numerous direct trains daily which take you to Turin or Milan in under 1 hour and which cost around €7. So very, very good there as well. Now, given that Vercelli has so much to offer and it is easy to get to Milan and Turin by train, property prices, I think, are really cheap, costing only just above €900 per square metre. So I think really for such a lovely city, it's very, very cheap indeed. And also the medical facilities are pretty good here as well. So you've got the best of a lot of worlds here. But it doesn't quite make number 1. Now, coming in at number 1, and this will not surprise you, is the city of Turin. Now, for those of you who follow the channel, it will be no surprise to hear that Turin comes in first position when it comes to buying property in the region of Piedmont. In fact, in 2023, it was my top place to buy in the whole of Italy. Turin is Italy's fourth most populous city and a very, very underrated city. Real estate prices on average are only around 1,900 euros per square meter, which is less than 2/5 of that of Milan, where property prices cost over 5,300 euros per square meter. And Naples in South Italy, property prices are almost 1,000 euros per square meter more expensive on average. And you will see in Naples they're 2,800 euros per square meter, so a lot more expensive than Turin. Turin has a great aerospace industry, auto industry, including, of course, Fiat. It is a beautiful city full of Baroque architecture. It has a magnificent royal palace, an incredible Egyptian museum, churches, elegant squares, a magnificent cathedral, museums and galleries. Education-wise, it has two of the best universities in Italy. It has two big football teams, namely Torino and Juventus. And the World Tennis ATP Finals take place here as well. And the Winter Olympics were held here back in 2006. Now, the city's main opera house held the Eurovision Song Contest in 2022. And there are, of course, many places to dine in the city. Transport-wise, Turin has a metro system, is well connected by rail, and an international airport which flies to numerous destinations in Europe. It also flies to Tel Aviv, as well as Marrakesh and Casablanca in Morocco. So very, very well connected. Hence, clearly, for me, the number one place to buy real estate in the region of Piedmont, without any shadow of any doubt. Anyway, let me know if you agree or disagree and why. And again, thanks ever so much for watching, and I shall see you very soon on the next video.